Hi, we're going to finish off this basic movement series, what has become a series, with number 3. I'm going to cover off the last kind of stragglers, the things that I tend to use still fairly often, but not quite as often as everything else. I am still not attempting to cover every type of motion that you could handle in Vim. It just is too vast for this stuff. If you want to, read up on motion, I'd like you to take a look at help motion.txt. This is the big daddy. Everything's in here. Everything that I've talked about plus everything else is in here. Okay? So have a read through that after this. If you're just not satisfied, if you're just that kind of person, and my God, I have to know more, it's all right there. Make no mistake, Vim has some of the best documentation I have ever seen in the world. It's fantastic, along with everything else in Vim. I mean, come on. How could the documentation not be just as good? I mean, it's fantastic all the way through. So today we're gonna cover some bigger kind of jumping around, not just so much just moving a bit here and there. Although we did do some jumping with the searching functionality in star and hash or sharp. In this case, we're going to jump a little differently. And we're going to do it with code because we're coders. And originally Vi was made for something like C, where code was formatted a particular way. So one of the things you want to do is you want to jump to the curly brace in column 0. That's essentially, for a lot of people, that's the beginning of a function. Forget the Java programmers out there that have learned to do it like this. Maybe it came from TCL or something like that. Personally, I hate code like that, but Vim is geared towards being able to jump to things like this. Okay? With the double closing square bracket, you can jump to the next curly brace in column 0. Okay? To jump to the previous curly brace in column 0, you do it this way. It's a double hit on the square braces. Now, what people tend to think is, well, wouldn't that have taken me to the matching brace? Well, no, it doesn't do that. The way that you go to the closing braces, the next closing brace, is with these two keys. The closing square bracket, then the opening square bracket. And to go backwards, it's just in the opposite order, like this. These somewhat they're a little bit more difficult to remember. If you happen to be, maybe lucky like me, I don't know, but you're in North America, you tend to do things to the right. We speak English, we read from left to right. To go in sort of the forward direction is going to the right. Then I make sure that to go forward, in other words, down the file, I hit the right key first, which is this one, right? If I want to go back, I hit the left key first. That's just how I remember it. How you remember it, or what your keyboard layout is up to you. Now, in order to go to the matching one, I think most people know this one. That's the % key. See how I'm jumping between the two that match? And it's just a toggle. Okay? Incidentally, as a bit of a sidebar here, the % key doesn't match everything out of the box. Okay? It can, if we go to here, say we can match these braces. Okay? If we go to, say, one of the square braces, then we can match those as well. Okay? Like so. There are other types of things you could match with %, such as HTML tags, the opening and closing HTML tags. But you can't do that out of the box. You have to get a plugin called match.vim. No, Match It, I think. Is it Match It? Yeah, matchit.vim. Download that plugin, and that will extend the use of the % operator even more. So that I highly recommend you grab that one. That's a great plugin. Okay, so we're going to cover one more type of jump behavior that I use, well, tons actually. It's marking and jumping. So you use marks. Okay, so you can type marks, and that will tell you what marks you currently have in the system. So I will mark a line, like let's say I'm working on this line here, so I will mark this with MA. I'll then jump around the file. and I'll say, okay, I really want to, okay, oh, I really like this line. I don't know why, but, and then I'll go back to where I was. What I'll do is I'll yank this line. I'll go back to where I was with quote A, okay, and let's say I want to put that there. I'll format that line, and then say I'll do this, right, like so, okay, and I don't like doing that actually because, well, quite frankly, I thought I had a better way of doing this, which I showed. I showed this in the surround plugin thing, so I'm going to do it that way. And I'm going to just say, let's just format, the whole thing. And so we're good, right? We're happy. That got us there. So we have this thing, and we can then use the marks to jump around. There's something to remember though, in that it's not just the marks you do by hand. See how we have an A there at line 59? There's other marks in there. I didn't make those marks. Vim made those marks. You see? Now honestly I don't remember what all these are. You'll have to look them up. You can do that with, of course, with help marks. Okay? They're all in here. All kinds of default marks. But the one that I always remember, and the one that I find to be most important, is the last place you were. So let's say I went to line 20 with 20, big G, we saw that earlier, and I want to say, no, I want to go back where I was. That's quote, quote. Quote to invoke the mark operator, and then the mark that you happen to be where Vim stored your last location was the quote. Okay? And it's very easy to hit. It's the last place you were, the last place before you jumped. Remember that one. It's extremely useful. You'll be really surprised how often you would say, I need to go back where I was. Right? Just even you wanted to go look at something. I wanted to go see what was on line 20. Oh, okay, that's what's on line 20. Okay, back where I was, do some more work. Okay? So, just to recap, we used the double open square bracket to jump to the first column, or the first curly brace in column 0. We used the double close to jump to the next curly brace in column 0. We used the forward, this sort of the right left kind of hit to go to the next closing brace in column 0, and the left right hit to go to the previous closing brace in column 0. We used the percent, right, to sort of jump between matching things. We know now that that it will match a number of things like this, okay? And we used the marks to let us jump around. One other thing I will say about marks is let's say we mark there, for example, right? And then we just go to, I don't know, a few lines up. Then we can go to the location where we were, that line, but see how I didn't go where I marked it? I marked it on the U, I believe. So let's go back up. I can use the back tick instead. Instead of the single quote, I can use the back tick, A, and that puts me right on the column and the row where I was. The single quote puts me on the row into the first non-white space character on that row. Okay? So we used the marks as well. I highly suggest you read motion.txt. Okay? This is fantastic. This will tell you all kinds of stuff about moving around, jumping around like a madman, doing all kinds of wonderful things that I haven't showed you. And you'll be way more productive. Once again, this is not Notepad. It is not the kind of editor where you use the mouse all the time and you're up arrow, down arrow, you're all like this, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to use the shift key and I'm going to, do all kinds of interesting crap. This is nothing like that. Give up that stuff. You're using Vim now. You've made the choice. Do it for real. Give it up and drink that Kool-Aid and say, I'm not going to use the arrow key. I'm not going to touch it. I never touch that damn thing. I don't touch the arrow keys. I don't touch the mouse. No real Vim guy ever does. Or girl. Sorry. And quite frankly, guys, like I keep saying, if you use Vim, the women will just jump all over you. I'm serious. Oh yeah. Okay? So, that's that. That's the last of the series on motions. Enjoy, folks. I hope you're getting something out of this. And I'll talk to you again later. Cheers.